Alright, this is video 2 for the Speed of the Bubble Tube Excel lab. From the first video we created these tables, and in the second video I'm just going to continue by adding more data to here. Just to let you know, I'm using Excel 2013, which is again I explained in the first video, which is probably why you might see these tabs or something different up here. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, unfortunately all of my computers, my work and my desktop at home and my laptop all have the 2013 version of this, but it's pretty similar, so it's okay. So what I want to do is change this triangle to, the green, we want it to be a square, so we're going to change that. So we're going to right click and we get that, again, we get this format data series right here. Now when you do that in the older versions, this will actually appear right next to here, won't appear on the side, but it's the same idea. And it asks for options. We want to change the marker. So we're going to go to the marker options, and you'll notice that we can actually, with the built-in right here, we can change the shape, which is what we want to do, to the square. You can make the squares bigger if you want. I don't really care too much about that. But then, there you are. You can see they're now squares. I somehow lost my trend line in this process. I don't know why. So I'm going to re-add my trend line. So right click, add trend line. Again, with the older versions, your trend line option will actually come from the chart options up here, and you'll see that you can add it. Definitely ask me in lab and I'll show you where that is. It's also shown on the Speed of the Bubble Tube lab sheet as well. Hold on one second, my phone is ringing. Okay, I'm back, sorry. Well, it probably doesn't appear like I was gone, but I had to deal with that. Okay, so like I said before, we're going to add a trend line. Now, during my absence, I wanted to bring up that when you actually do this, that the trend line actually is going to be up here, and it's going to look more like this. So either way, your options are still the same. So let me go back to this. Right click on that. I'm going to add trend line, linear. I want to set the intercept to 0, just like that. And I want that because I want at time 0 that our line goes through right here. We want it to work out. And then we're going to actually set the equation on the chart, just like that. And then I could just right click here, add trend line, and do the same thing. Linear, set intercept to 0, display equation. Now you have the option to, I would like you to move the equation so it's obvious or not on top of things. So this one's for this line, this one's for that line, etc. And the whole point is to see how close we are with the speed. So this number right here is the slope of the line, and that actually tells us about the speed. So now I'm just doesn't matter, you can leave that open or close it. Now I'm going to add the last set of data, and you can see also too, we can actually change some of these things like the color of the line. Why not? Let's change the color. Let's do the data series. So I actually physically clicked on the trend line. I want to go to the line. Let's make it, you can make it red if you want, just to be, like that. I think I will keep it the same color. There we go. Ta-da! Alright, now let's add the other data. So we're going to add the blue data. So I'm going to right click on this chart, go to the option that says select data, and I'm going to add another line. So to do that, this is the blue series X values. I click on this button and I click the X values, which is our time, just like that. And then I'm going to click our Y values. So click on that button, there we go, re-click this button, press OK. Press OK, and now here we go. Here's our other one. Now I'm going to right click on this, and as I've done before, I'm going to add a trend line and format our data series. So first I'm going to go and change the marker. Now first of all, the marker needs to be a triangle. So I'm going to click the triangle, and I actually like the points to be a little larger. There we go. Now I'm going to click the marker fill. I want it to be not green, but a nice blue. Let's make a nice bright blue. There we go. And there's should be no border, so it's just blue. Actually, I want the marker one more size bigger. Here we go. All right, so we format the data series. Now we're going to add a trend line, linear, set intercept to 0, display equation on chart. There we go. Cool. That looks awesome. And there you have it. So move that out of the way, just so we know. And that's how you're going to make your distance time graph, just like that. It looks pretty. Oh, I want to fix that. I want to fix the trend line. I want the trend line to have a blue. There we go. There we go. Now that's good. Looking good. And here we are. So your lab actually walked you through this. So here's the point at which we did all of this. Now, there's a question. Answer the following question. So you're going to find out, or forecast, if you will, where this line would be to answer this question. How far did the bubble travel in 6.5 seconds? So if you notice on your graph, we only go up to about 5, not 5.6. So we could figure this out. Specifically, your lab wants for the green tube. So if I right-click and go back to Format Trend Line, I can ask it to actually extend that line, or or do the opposite, go backwards. So I'm actually going to extend it by, let's see, 7. Oops. Extend it by 2, sorry. So what I've done, if you see here, that I've extended this line out. So we could find out at 6.5 seconds, which is about here, that it's approximately about 13 centimeters. So the way I want you to answer this question is right underneath the chart, just put like a number 1 and say the green tube would have traveled, and you could round this, 13 centimeters in 6.5 seconds. So that's fine. You don't have to go into any more detail like that. And there you go. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to do that for, oh yes, all of them. Now, when you do this, you're going to right click and go to forecast. Now, I'm going to add 2 more places. That's what this forward means. I'm going to add 2 to the 5. 1, 2. Press enter. And same thing. A ballpark estimate's fine. So this is about, right here, which is a little under 20. So I'd say 18. So I would say the blue tube would have traveled 18 centimeters, and then the other one is the red tube would have traveled, and I will do that right here. Right click, format data series forward, 2, press enter. 6.5 is about here. It's a little over, let's say a little over 6. 6.2 maybe. So in order to do that, you just have to double click. At this point, like, I don't know, 3 centimeters. I'm not going to go and be really specific about it, but it has to be reasonable when you do this, because I know you're reading the graph. Just like that. Now, when you're done with that, I'd like you to fix them all. It's just kind of used as a tool, so when you actually hand in the lab, I'd like it actually without the forward. There we go. Like that. So it's back like this. Perfect. And then you'll answer the questions as follows. You'll see which tube is the bubble the fastest, and you can just continue this, the blue tube, because it had the steepest slope. Now, just because I wrote it here doesn't mean necessarily that this is actually going to happen in your lab. In fact, it might be a little different. But, according to my data that I made up, remember that I made this up, that it is the steeper one right here. And then let's see what else we have here. So when you're calculating the slope, I'd like you to show I'd like you to show all the calculations when you do that. And I think the rest of it's pretty straightforward because you're just going to answer these questions. So some of them are just, one-word answers, and you can just literally do that. And I believe that is it. I'm actually going to have you submit your lab online. So let's pretend this is it. So I'm going to save this here. So oops, this is the sample. Let's not do the sample. Let's do this one. I'm going to save it. And I'd like you to save it not in a generic sense, because as always, I have to grade this. So, save as, wherever you need to save it. I'm just going to save it here for now. Typically, I'd like you to save anything that you hand in to me as your last name, the name of the item, so Bubble Tube Lab, and then your semester. That just makes life a lot easier when I'm trying to grade things. So save it as that, as such. So if you go to your Blackboard account, you might not see as much because I'm looking at the instructor version, but you should see under Forces in Motion that you will have an option to submit your lab. So this is right here. It's called an assignment. If you click on that button, you will be able to browse your computer. So you just literally press that button. You're going to find the one that you did. This one happens to not be the one we did. We did spring, which will be this one. And you should see it right here.
Please call 220.
And if you want to add any comments, it's pretty cool. You could do that. So you don't have to, but if you wanted to make, tell me something that went wrong or whatever you want me to consider as a grade your lab, tell me right here. And then you can officially submit, just like that. And there you go. And this will give you a preview of the sheet that you're submitting. Very nice. And then that's it. For the most part, you press OK. Now, if you want to resubmit because you found an error, that's fine. You can submit as much as you can, but you have till 2 p.m. So basically after lab, this will be due. But if you make a mistake and you just thought about it, you have time to fix it, but not too much time. So just be careful with that. The last thing I just want to mention is when you have your file, make sure you can see where the print lines are. So if you go to page layout, and then you could actually have the guidelines to where the printing is going to occur. Let me show you what that looks like. There you go. So if you click on guidelines and then click on print, you'll see that if I were to print this, this would actually all get cut off right where the dotted line is. So I'd like you to make sure that your page fits, or your information, which means you might have to move some things around, like even my files would have to move a little bit to make it fit. So you might need to finesse a little bit about that. So if I get rid of this, and as you notice, yes, it is attached. So this might take a little time. I'm not going to spend time now since I'm also running out of time here. But keep an eye on this when you do that. All right. So this concludes our video, and if you have any questions during lab, let me know. Hope you have a nice week. See you later.